days are in one year?
Days from is it 1,000?
In 1 year?
Yeah, pretty sure it is.
Yes. You know how many world wars there were?
4, 5, I don't know.
4 or 5?
4.
Yes. How many letters are in the alphabet?
24?
Do you know how many seasons there are?
12. I don't know. 12?
Yes.
Look, man, I normally don't like to use this space or take the opportunity as a means to make fun of everyday Americans, right? Like, I'm not somebody who wants to attack, like, people who have a bad moment, even racists, whatever, up, get them fired, banished from life, internet. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to make fun of just normal people for mistakes or things they might not know. However, this TikTok is hilarious. Not knowing the term 24/7, 365 by the time that kid is his age, you know, that's kind of a problem. World wars, like, wow, like that's kind of crazy, especially since like World War III is such a like common colloquialism and whatever. At least if he would have said 3, because people use World War III so much. But maybe it's because people use World War III so much, he thought there was a 4th World War. You know what I mean?
How many seasons there are?
12. I don't know. 12?
Yes.
Look, not knowing the 4 seasons that's crazy. Okay, that's legitimately problematic and concerning, but I'm not gonna lie, I have to tell on myself. My first guess, how many letters in the alphabet, was actually 24. So I actually relate to that person's response to this. And I guess, you know, the point of the video is to show that a lot of everyday Americans have not retained some information that, you know, you or I might take for granted that everybody should know, or, you know, that like this is a given. Like people understand the days of the year, you know, the season and all of that. Even though, look, if you again, people might say I'm making excuses. If you live in a place like Southern California, like I do, there are really no seasons, right? There's like the summer where it gets like super hot here, and then it's 75 degrees every other day. And yeah, and so, you know, it's messed up that people don't know this stuff, but I don't think it's the end of the world, to be quite honest. And, you know, by extension, this idea that you would blame Joe Biden and Democrats for people not knowing this kind of stuff is ridiculous. When, you know, we know how we fund education in this country. It's completely inequitable and up, property taxes and all kinds of dumb. How we fund public education. How are people supposed to get a quality education if they're not born into a circumstance where they get to go to quality schools, etc.? You guys know the drill on that. Now, of course, you contrast that with what's going on in South Dakota, where we have, you know, their governor, a woman named Kristi Noem, who says, quote, they're going to teach a true and honest history in South Dakota News, and also, quote, history won't be used as a racist tool for division, hate, and anger. What the hell does that even mean?
So our social studies standards we just got done with and released out to the public now that they're looking at, that talk about teaching a true and honest history. So therefore they won't be able to use it as any kind of a racist tool for division and hate and anger. It'll teach the actual founding documents of our country.
It's just on the one hand, look, I think the public discourse, especially in the culture, and how highly racialized it is, where, you know, this idea that white men are the root of and source of all evil, and white people did this, and, you know, the blacks are the most noble, but are the browns, or is it, like, I think the way that discourse is happening out in the greater culture is highly problematic and up, and really does have an influence on how crazy these people act when it comes to what's being taught at the schools, right? Like, again, I'm not talking about just saying that like slavery happened and it was perpetuated against African people and their descendants, and the people who sort of enacted the policy and you know, the culture were whites. Like, I don't think we have to not say that, like, about history. right? What I do think is a problem in the discourse is how people sort of like to paint race as being highly deterministic, which I just don't agree with, right? And that's not to say I'm on the side of these crazy people. I'm just saying the discourse is stupid and needs to be tamped down on our side. I really, truly do believe that when it comes to this identitarian type that we do. However, these parents, if I could have a conversation with them that was frank, I think this is just stupid. You could just use this as an opportunity to be like, yeah, there was some white people in the past that f***ed up, but we're great whites now. We don't do this type of we don't carry out slavery. We don't have segregation. We can point out the people who identified as white and move on with our lives. Like this idea that you have to just banish blatant truth from schools because your kid is not going to get to feel good about being white is just ridiculous. Okay, and it's not effective.